Hey YouTube, it's your boy Lycan here. First off, can you like, comment, and subscribe for me? All support is greatly appreciated. I'ma jump straight into the video. The TLDR is simple. According to videogamer.com, they got the patch notes early and they're leaking them. And according to them, it'll be in the description below for anybody that wants to see it. I won't post it just in case Marvel is very picky about that. I don't know, but and I don't want to take a chance of getting copyright struck or anything of that nature. But what I'll say is, if these patch notes are correct, the meta is about to change greatly. I'm not gonna take it as far as everybody else online talking about old triple supports dead and everything in between. Like, I'm not taking it that far, but it's about to change. Let's jump straight into it. Venom's first up. According to the leaks, Venom's frenzied arrival will change from a vertical knockback to a knockback at a 75-degree angle, and his ultimate cost will increase from 2,500 to 2,800. I play flex, so I don't want to lie and say like, oh, I main one particular role, because I don't. But I really enjoyed playing Venom. He was one of the first characters when I first started to play the game who I tried out. And to me, this buff doesn't feel like it's enough for Venom. Venom, the problem wasn't the knockback or his ult. Venom's a jack of all trade tank. He does a lot. He does everything really good, but he isn't great on excels at any one particular thing. I feel like if they gave him an extra swing, like Spider-Man has 3 swings, or if they made it so it's his L2 on console, but I believe it's called the cellular corrosion. If that stunned enemies instead of just slowing them, because it's so many mobility based things in the game, people can just easily jump out. Like, it's not that hard to get away from it, so it's like the damage never really sticks. It would be a lot better. And he could hold space like a proper tank. But that's just my 2 cents on Venom. What is yours? Leave a comment. Let me know what you think below. Are these buffs enough for Venom? Because I don't think so. Next up, everyone's favorite boy in the red, white, and blue, Captain America. They added the ability to use absolute will while jumping, and they increased his projectile speed. I am not somebody that plays Captain America, so I won't sit here and fake the funk like, oh, I'm a Captain America, I know everything about Cap, because I don't. He's a really good dive from what I played with, but he's just not my particular thing. Like I said, if I'm gonna play that type, I would rather play Venom, I guess. But is it enough? Who knows? Well, now the fact that he can block while jumping, and the fact that he has his projectile when he throws his shield speed now is increased. Hey, who knows? This might be the buff he needed. All hey, Captain America mains out there. Let me know in the comments. Is this good enough? What's up? Next up, our boy Thor, the God of Thunder. They literally gave this man one sentence. They did him dirty. They removed the cooldown after the Rune Awakening skill duration ends. That's it. That's the buff or the change. Like, they really did him dirty. I play Thor a little bit, and recently I've been trying to play him to get used to him because, like, I like the fact that he can burst down characters. Like, you feel like you run up against another tank or another, really anything, like tank, DPS, support, like you can burst them down. So, and my only real complaint was that his ult, it feels really slow. Like, I wish you could cancel it earlier. Like, oh, I got somebody underneath of me, let me cancel it and dive on top of him. But that's about it. I haven't played him long enough to really have an opinion as of yet. So, for all my Thor mains out there, let me know. Is this one line of change enough for you? What's up? Like, one's favorite tree is up next, and I don't mean that kind of tree. But just like Thor, you're about to see a recurring theme. Like, NetEase seems to think that for whatever reason, the vanguards and tanks for the most part are fine right now and don't need any major changes. Groot's change is that now he can place a wall up to 18 meters. and it's the change. The previous one was 15 meters. It, for whatever reason, Groot's kit reminds me of Ash from Paladins. If you played, like, he can drop walls and poke damage from around the walls and use them for space and positioning, like things like that. And honestly, from the time that I played with Groot, he feels like a good character. He feels fine. Doesn't feel like he really needs any major changes. If anything, the only thing I would give Groot right now is the fact that I would probably give him a damage buff. But at the same time, I'm not a one trick. So if you are somebody that mains Groot, let me know. What changes do you think Groot needs? Next up, Magneto. Magneto had his Iron Volley, or his primary attack, was buffed from 35 damage per hit to now it's 40 damage per hit. And his Metallic Curtain, or his shield, his L2, if you're on console, it had its energy cost increased from 50 to 60, and the maximum duration decreased to 1.5 seconds, and it's down from, because it was 2 seconds. Magneto feels like a traditional tank, feels like a Reinhardt type. To make an Overwatch comparison, he's good. It's fun. It's really not much to say about him. For me personally, I'm really curious as to if he'll stay like that though. But who knows? We'll just have to take the wait and see approach. I'm really curious because of the 3 support meta that's been going around. And you'll see if you keep watching the video, the future changes that's happening to the 3 support meta. I'm really curious to see how this plays out, because I think Magneto is one of the best tanks in the game currently. Everyone's favorite magician or wizard's up next to finish off the list. Doctor Strange's change is simple. His health is going down from 650 to 600. Simple and sweet to the point, honestly. But in my opinion, they could have left Strange alone, because he doesn't really need to be buffed or nerfed, in my opinion, because he pretty much is he's like Venom, a jack of all trade, but he's a better Venom because he does everything. He has a portal to be able to just get right back into the fight. He has the shield to be able to block. Like, he can do everything well. And I know it's going to be some strange players that are like, no, he needs this or that buff. Cool, I guess. But for me personally, he does everything really well. He doesn't really need to be buffed. But I guess Nettie said that he needed to be nerfed. So there goes the nerf. HP down. Time to jump right into the duelist changes, and first up is everyone's favorite Chinese martial artist, Iron Fist. This man will chase you down with an auto-lock primary attack, and you can't escape. All you gotta do is wait for death. And boy, if you can't tell, yes, I'm traumatized. I have gotten jumped by as Punisher as a mini Iron Fist. And he also got a lot of changes. Starting out, his base HP is increased from 250 to 300 now. His primary attacks overall are just nerfed. The first, second, fifth hit all had their attack damage reduced from 32 to 30. His third and fourth hit had his damage reduced from 16 to 15. And his sixth hit had his damage reduced from 55 to 50. He also had his flurry attack damage reduced from 19 to 10. The Harmony now recovers more. It now provides him with an extra 150 HP instead of the usual 50. So now he can get a max HP of, if you do it at full health, of 400 instead of the usual 300. So that's an extra 100 HP. And I believe the way it's interpreted, it now decays at 25 HP per second, which isn't bad, honestly. His Dragon Defense now converts up to 200 damage instead of the usual 150. Honestly, I know a few Iron Fist mains are quite upset right now with the fact that his primary attack damage is getting reduced. It was already hard to kill in Marvel's rivals because of the triple support meta and just supports in general. This isn't like Paladins where it's cauterizes in the game, or it's where something is in the game to help reduce how much healing goes out. That's not in the game currently. So with the fact that, yes, his survivability went up, they gave him a bunch of buffs in terms of defense, but his damage is reduced and he's a dive character. I'm personally not a fan of it. I like playing Iron Fist. He's a cool character. I hate when other people play him against me because like I said, I like to play Punisher a lot and I just getting dabbed. But let me know, what do you think about these Iron Fist changes? Are they good? Are they bad? Next up, Mr. Fantastic. First off, flexible elongation. Hey, yo. Spell field increased from 2.5 meters to 5 meters. It now knocks the enemy backwards, and it also had its charge time increased. Brainiac bounce. That's the ultimate. Its damage was increased from 50 to 70. Its energy cost goes up for the extra damage from 2,800 to 3,400. But they also added a damage fall off radius, so that way the farther you are, the less damage you take it does. Because from my interpretation and what I'm making sure I'm understanding correctly, at 10 meters, it's only going to deal 50 damage instead of the normal 70 damage that's supposed to come with the patch. But at 3 meters, it probably deals that 70 damage. So correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but that's my interpretation of that. And it seems like Mr. Fantastic, he honestly, when he launched, he was fine. Like, he's good. He's a good character. Like, I wouldn't change anything about him. He's good. He's good as is. Everyone's favorite genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist is up next. Iron Man. He had one small change, but it's also kind of a big change at the same time. He had his Unibeam's damage increase in both his base mode and then in his armor overdrive mode. His base mode's damage has gone from, it was 120 damage a second to 140. And then the armor overdrive Unibeam went from 180 a second to 190. That's a lot of damage in the base mode. Less in the it's less in the armor overdrive mode, but in the base mode, that's a lot of damage. Iron Man already did good damage. He did especially good chip damage because if you didn't deal with him, his base splash, the repulsor cannon, it was good splash chip damage. Like, you didn't have to really, you could build up alt very easily and chip away at the opponent. So now with this, those rush down, like, you're still gonna struggle with like a Punisher. Like, people are still gonna counter you with Punisher, but outside of Punisher, everybody like Winter Soldier, like Psylocke, people like to run you down. Like, it's certain. Iron Man's looking kind of good right now. Will come February 21st. Next up, everyone's favorite Bowman, Hawkeye. Hawkeye had his base health increase from 250 to 275. His explosive arrows now deals 15 damage instead of the 20, but had their spell field damage increased from 25 to 32. Crescent Slash had its cooldown decreased from 15 to 12 seconds, and for some odd reason, they buffed his ult. They increased the draw speed and the bow charge speed. To me, Hawkeye's always been a high risk, high reward character. If you hit your shots, he feels amazing. He's great. It's wonderful. You miss your shots, he feels awful. He feels like the worst character in the game. It's high risk, high reward. Our favorite chocolate queen is up next, Storm. Her wind blade damage at 30 meters is reduced from 70% to 60%. Her aura changes. She got aura diff. Or self boost from 16% to 12%, and the team boost from 8% to 10%. Her goddess boost, self boost damage is decreased from 30% to 25%. So basically, Storm got nerfed, which makes sense because she's pretty much an auto ban in high elo. So at lobbies, like, it makes sense that she was gonna get nerfed. Everyone's been complaining about her because of her previous season buffs. So I thought that was gonna happen, especially when you paired her with Thor. Yeah, Storm was really good. So I just feel bad for the people that mained her day one that she's gonna get nerfed. So I hope that the nerf doesn't kill the character and still makes her usable for those people. So I'm basically gonna rapid fire these next four because they pretty much all have one line, and it's only really one that I truly want to talk about. The others, they kind of are what they are. So Star-Lord had his alt increase from 1,200 to 1,800. that makes sense. Like Star-Lord's a perfectly fine character. There's no real reason to buff or nerf him. He's good as is. Spider-Man's recharge time on his web shooters decreased from 3 seconds to 2.5 seconds. Spider-Man's the only one that you could really make an argument to me for, because you shouldn't have to do all those fancy combos and things to try to get a kill. It shouldn't, like, it doesn't feel like his kit flow to me. Like, yeah, you can get some clips and memes and stuff like that, but like in an actual competent fight of two people, like of two teams of equal skill, it doesn't feel like he's that good to me. Hela Soul Drainer damage fall off at 30 meters increase from 70% to 80%. It's a damage fall off increase. Hela is still good. You can easily two tap people. She's kind of like Hawkeye, high risk, high reward. Bing bing, and they just drop. So she's fine as is, especially, and her ult's really good. Like her whole kit, she's another good, like she's just good overall. And then there's Scarlet Witch, Wanda. Wanda she got a 100 bonus HP applied on her ult that decays at 50 seconds after casting. To me, Scarlet Witch is somebody that's probably my second most used character behind Punisher. And I personally feel like her primary fire doesn't do enough damage. And you're gonna see in like in the gameplay, her little burst fire mode, it like they don't feel like they hit hard enough. Like it's consistent, it's easy to aim, don't get me wrong, because of the splash, but it doesn't feel like it does enough damage. The really good thing about her is her ult, but the problem is her ult is easily counterable. So that's why like everyone in the community was complaining about her ult being bad, and they decided to offset that by giving her an extra 100 HP. We gotta really wait and test and see like how that is in game, but like Scarlet Witch might need a little bit more buffs. That's just me personally though. Up next, I guess you would say our Cape Crusader, kinda sorta, Moon Knight. Moon Knight's changes are simple. He really only has one. His ult is changing. The Hands of Khonsu reduced the speed of the talons, corrected the damage logic, removed 75 damage for being in the middle of it. Each talon now does 150 damage, which is up from 75. So if you stand perfectly in the middle of his ult, you'll only take 75 damage. Or are they saying they're removing that and now you no longer only take 75 damage? This is going to be a wait and see kind of thing with Moon Knight, because it's his ult and because it's been having that double damage bug. We just gotta wait and see and test in game once it actually hits like the live game. Next up is Natasha, Black Widow. Black Widow had her rifle mag increase from 8 to 15 and electroplasma slowdown effect from 80% to 55%. Honestly, I think I might have tried Black Widow twice, maybe 3 times. I don't have an opinion either way about her. Let me know down in the comments whether or not is this a good thing or a bad thing. I would assume that it would be a good thing because she got her ammo doubled, but hey, who knows? Next up, some of y'all favorite girl, Magik. Magik had her Eldritch world damage, say that 3 times fast, world damage decreased from 45 to 40. She had her Demon's Rage damage decreased from 80 to 72, but she also got a buff in the sense that she had her alt Dark Child decreased from 3700 to 3400. Magik was always good. She's always been really good in a dive. I love because I love to play Psylocke. I've been playing her a lot recently, and yeah, like you pair a good Magik with a good Psylocke, it does wonders. And so I've been trying to get her like master Magik as well for the team up, so that way I can play either or. And yeah, she's good. So what buffs would you like to see coming to Magik? Let me know. If you made it this far in the video, how about giving me a like, a share? What about a subscribe? Even a comment. Hey, you can do it. We almost done though with these leaked patch notes for Marvel Rivals. I'm gonna cram 3 more heroes together, rapid fire style, because they're just like their duelist brethren, and they only got 1 line. Luna Snow had her ult increase from 4K to 4,500. Invisible Woman had her ult increase from 4,000 to 4,300. Loki had his ult increase from 3,400 to 4,000, but he also had his ammo increased to 12. Let's be honest for a minute, guys. Strategists are the best class in the game. They do so much for their team, and the defensive ults triple support heal spam meta needs to go. I'm sorry, it's annoying. Most people don't want to run the counters to it, and that's going to end up ruining the game. You don't want the game to end up like Overwatch. So just nerf it and be done. And hopefully that's what this patch does. NetEase is clearly listening to the community, but I don't want to. You might have heard about recently, and if you watch gaming news, Paladins is getting shut down. Well, not getting shut down, but they're no longer receiving support. I used to play Paladins a lot with my friends. It's a mechanic in their skill in the game called Cauterize. And Cauterize makes it so that whatever you're shooting receives less healing. It became a mandatory pick item because the heal spam was so prevalent. So it's like, let's not get to that point that we got to end up like a Paladins where it has to be something implemented in the game, because healing right now is really strong. Like, really strong. And I don't want it to get to that point where we got to put something like that in the game, personally. Next up is Adam Warlock. He's another character that I've only really played a few times, so I haven't really gotten used to his play style, like the whole shoot, and like you're combining his L2 and his primary fire. Like, I haven't gotten used to that sequence yet. So I don't really have an opinion on him. But his buffs are his quantum magic damage increased from 55 to 60, and also 60% damage fall off at 40 meters. It's up from 50% damage fall off. Also, his soul bond healing increased from 10 a second to 15 a second. Like I said, I've only played him a few times. The few times I did play him, he felt like really he wasn't a primary healer, and it was more so you were using him for his ult to be able to bring everyone back. That's just my personal thoughts. This was a longer video than I thought. I hope you liked my general thoughts on the leaks patch notes, but I also want you to know you need to take them with a grain of salt. No one knows what the patch notes will be 100% until the patch notes are officially released, because you never know. They could add something or change something at the last minute. But let's jump into the last character, Cloak and Dagger. Cloak and Dagger, Eternal Bond increased from 3,400 to 4K. Dash lane duration reduced from 10 seconds to 8 seconds. Pause between dashes is reduced from 1 second to 0.67 seconds. That's oddly specific. Healing effect of the dash lanes no longer stack. Only one lane works now when they are overlapped. Terra Cape vulnerability on enemies is increased from 20% to 28%. So she got some buffs, kinda, some nerfs. She has the best ult in the game. It's not even close. It's not up for discussion. The best ult in the game. The fact that she had those 4 dashes as well when they gave her that is also kind of crazy. I find it's like I said, the oddly specific. I find it odd that it's 0.67. Like, why couldn't it be 0.5? Why couldn't it be 0.4? Like, is it something? I'm wondering, like, if that gets any faster, like if it probably breaks the game. And then the healing effects of the lane stacking, I didn't even know that was a thing. So that shows, like, and I play her a lot in competitive, like, and I've never thought like, oh yeah, let me stack that was just the Terra Cape vulnerability is good as well, because that's gonna end up making the opponent take more damage. Like, it's just good. It's good overall support. So hopefully this kills the triple support meta. Who knows though? It's only one way to find out, and that's going to be to check out on February 21st. I want you all to like, comment, subscribe. It's your boy Liking. I'm out.